Hello, everyone. Executive Director Leah Lynch here. Today's training is going to focus on part of our PAP cycle here at Experior, which stands for Prospecting, Approach, and Present. We know here at Experior that PAP will set you free. So today's conversation is going to focus strongly on the approach, and we're going to sneak up a little bit on the presenting as well. So let me set you up. You've done the hard part. You have landed your prospect. So whether you have chosen to purchase your leads through the cold market or to utilize your warm market, you finally got someone to have a conversation with you. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, now what? Agents approach me all the time asking for scripts. I don't know what to do. What should I do next? What we're going to focus on today is what I call the sales process. So the sales process is not a script per se. It's not the mechanics of how you're going to do it, but it's more about the psychology behind how we execute. So the sales process is kind of woven and integrated into the fabric of every single sale. All right. Before we get going on the sales process, I do want us to take a pause and make a pledge to ourselves. We are going to be going through a very high level overview today, but we're trying to walk away with some tangible, actionable items. And in order to learn new things, we have to make some adjustments. So this is a pledge that you're making to yourself, not to me. No matter where you are in your evolution as a salesperson, whether you're that guy who could sell air in a jar or whether you just got licensed yesterday and you're just trying to find the lay of the land, we always have room for growth. But in order to grow, we have got to first know that that's necessary to do. We got to make a little room in our cup. Sometimes you got to dump a little out to make some room for some new stuff. Understand that we're not going to make any excuses along the way. We've got to be a little uncomfortable when we start doing some new things. We got to give ourselves a chance. Once we start trying to execute, it's not going to work right away. We've got to be consistent and stick with it. Give it a chance to work. Okay. And most importantly, recognize that most of what we do in this job happens between our ears. So I need you to be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and understand that as you apply new knowledge that you're going to get not only from what I'm saying here today or any other time you're trying to learn a new skill, that you got to be patient with yourself as you're acquiring this new skill. Okay? So make that commitment to yourself, because learning is always better. So let's take a look here. What exactly is the sales process? So like I said, I get a lot of agents that come to me a lot of times and they're asking me for a script. Okay. The sales process is not really a script so much as it is a road map. Okay. So we're going to go through the 7 steps of the sales process that you can see here and provide you with signposts along the way. So you can find your way through in a predictable and easy manner. All right. So we're going to look at everything from the icebreaker all the way down to reflecting and advocating. We're going to stop today before we actually do an enrollment. That's another step. But this is the really meaty part. All right. Now, let's start here. We're talking about the psychology behind the sale. All right. So we got to get in your head. We got to get in their head. But let's start with you first. So when we come to this conversation with our person, I need you to have game day energy, not anxiety and angst about, oh my God, how is this going to go energy. So first of all, we need that game day energy. Then I need you to know that tapping into your person and showing some empathy is absolutely paramount in what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out how to move a person from a place where they don't know you at all, or they don't know you in this particular capacity, to a place where they're going to share a lot of personal information and trust you in a very significant way to lead them to a solution. So you've got to facilitate this happening. Okay. So when we were growing up, I don't know about you, but I was taught to live by the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. When we're talking about empathy, it's actually a little bit of a tweak. Empathy says you do unto others as they would have you do unto them. So put yourself in their shoes and feel your way through here. Okay? So get your head right. Let's start talking about the sales process itself. So what is the absolute first step? The first thing we want to do is we want to do some kind of an icebreaker. Okay, you can't just jump in and go, "Hey, do you have insurance?" That's a little much. It's a little intense. Okay, we need to do a little bit of an icebreaker, but you got to be careful what kind of questions that you're asking. You don't want to open up a can of worms that allows somebody to go down a rabbit hole and drag you off into the woods. You need to ask a controlled question. So whether you're on the phone, it might be, "Hey, are you hearing me okay?" If you're on a Zoom, "Can you see my screen?" Some type of a logistical, controlled context kind of a question. Okay. And then you want to let them know, "Oh, I'm so glad to be here on this phone with you today. So I need you to greet them in some kind of a way that conveys the fact that you do not hate your job." Okay. You need to be confident. You need to be engaging. And more importantly, you need to be authentic. Okay. Now, why is this important? When you're doing this chit chat in the greeting and the icebreaker, I need you to start getting a read on your client's energy. Okay, this is our first chance to start to read on their energy. Are they like really upbeat and they're right there with you? Are they sounding a little like they're dragging today? These things are super important. Okay, so why am I saying all this about seemingly nothing? Because what we want to do is start mirroring our client from the very, very beginning. Those of us who are seasoned salespeople know that mirroring is a very, very effective way to get people to trust you quickly. And that is what we need here. We need to establish trust. We've got to lay a strong foundation so that everything that comes in the future is grounded in a strong place. So pay attention. Look, I'm from the Northeast. I talk real fast. I get to go. Boom, boom, boom. If I'm talking to somebody else from Jersey, we can just roll and we can go. But if I've got somebody on the phone from Alabama or Mississippi, maybe Louisiana, okay, and I hear that they're a little more kicked back, they're a little more relaxed, I need to adjust my pace, because sometimes people from the South perceive fast talking as disingenuous and dishonest. On the other hand, maybe I've got somebody on the line, if you've got somebody on the line that is talks a little bit slower, right? People from the North maybe perceive those of us who speak a little bit slower. There are some preconceived notions that maybe they're not quite as sharp. So you need to be able to find a way to meet your client where they are, and it starts with mirroring. And you cannot mirror unless you are tuned in and paying attention. So listen, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff here today. And let me tell you something. You cannot win your deal in the first 90 seconds, but you can lose it in the first 90 seconds. So this is seemingly very simple, but oh, so important. Let's look at the next step. So we've broken the ice. We had a little chit chat. We let them know that we're happy to be here. So we're going to make an initial inquiry. Nothing too serious. We're going to throw what feels like a little softball lob up. Okay. So tell me, what's got you looking at insurance today? Nice, easy question. You're going to get an answer back from them most of the time that is superficial and esoteric. And I've listened to thousands of sales calls and coached hundreds of agents, and most of the time, the agents will allow the client to give them that superficial answer and they just move on to the next thing. You can't let that happen. You have to get a real answer from them. Okay? And why is that important? And what does that look like? Well, it's important because we're trying to lay the foundation for urgency. So be ready for it. You know that it's coming. Well, what's got you looking at insurance today, Miss Julie? I don't know. I'm getting old. You know what? You're right. I'm getting old too. We were both getting old yesterday. But seriously, what's got you on the phone here with me today? Did something happen? And then you have to kind of go at them enough for them to give you a real reason as to why they're on the phone. Now, we know that the combination of pain and value is what gives us the urgency. We're going to need this urgency. We may need this urgency lever later to handle the objection that they may give you when they try to push you off. I got to talk to my wife. I got to think about it, whatever. So you need to start establishing urgency right here. Okay. And then when they finally give you a real answer, no matter what that turns out to be, you're going to say, oh, I hear you. I understand. I can help with that. So we're starting to make them feel confident about you and your abilities. And mostly we want them to feel validated. We want them to feel seen in the avatar sense of the word. I see you. I hear you. I got you. All right. So I need you to say, I can help with that. Then we're going to go right into our next step, which is the role and credibility statement. So this is where you define what you do and how you're going to be able to help your person. Okay. It's a direct expression of your value. All right. Now, whether or not you recognize this on a conscious level or not, our job is pretty simple. And I need you to lay it out for them. This is the bare bones of it. You deliver it however you want. Look, my job is A, to understand your needs. B, to figure out what it is that you qualify for. And then I need to get you the best possible offer from one of our top rated carriers. So you want to deliver the 3 primary components of your job in whatever way that feels comfortable for you. And then I need you to roll that up with a little bit of credibility. So you're trying to tell them what you do and why they should listen to a word that you say. So maybe the credibility piece is sort of like this. Miss Julie, let me tell you, I can definitely help with the things that you're concerned about. Okay. My job is to make sure that I really, really understand exactly what it is that you're needing. Then I'm going to figure out what I can get you qualified for. And then we're going to get you the best possible offer from one of our top rated carriers. Look, I've been in financial services for nearly a decade. I'm licensed in 45 states. I do this a lot. Okay. Don't worry. I got you on this one. Does that make sense, guys? All right. So that role and credibility statement, exactly how you deliver it is going to depend on your style. You can do the role statement first and the credibility statement second. You can kind of make a little credibility sandwich and wrap it around the role. I don't care how you do it, but find a way to deliver it. This is something that you can actually script out for yourself and practice it and polish it like a diamond. You have 100% control over this piece of this conversation, so you can make it really nice and clean. Then we're going to immediately deliver what I call a broadcast statement. What we're trying to do here is manage their expectations. Okay. We know that we're getting ready to move into a section of conversation where there could be some objections coming up. And in my opinion, the best rebuttal for an objection is to eliminate that objection before it ever happens. Okay. So the broadcast statement is where you define what you do and how you're going to help them. Okay. So maybe it's sort of like this. Okay. So I've been doing this for a long time. I'm going to take great care of you. Okay. You let them know, look, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Okay. The answers to your questions are very important to allow me to figure out what it is, how it is that I'm going to be able to help you. It's going to take me about 20, 30 minutes to get a lay of the land. And then once we find a solution, which may or may not be on this same call, then it'll take maybe 30 minutes to apply. Does that sound like it makes sense to you? What do you think? Okay, so you want to have some type of an assumptive transition that's going to move us to the next step. Now, let me pause here for a second. I know some of you are thinking, oh, there's a whole lot of steps going on here. I don't want to run my call like that. The truth is, the time that elapses between, hi, my name is Leah, and it takes about 30 minutes to apply is maybe somewhere between 4 and 7, 8 minutes, depending on how talkative your person is when you're trying to uncover that urgency piece, and how much little chit chat you did there in the beginning on the icebreaker. But it's not a long time. But the reason why this section is so important is because it's all about call control. If we lay down the roadmap and establish the rules of engagement, we let them know, I got to understand your needs. So that implies that I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions, okay? I got to figure out what you qualify for, then we're going to get you that offer. It is going to short circuit many, many of the objections that are going to come, because we're getting ready to move into a section where we're going to be asking some very, very invasive questions. And sometimes they want to push back at you. Your job is to be empathetic, have a nice organic conversation, but you have to stay in control. Let's move into the next step. So now that they've agreed that you're going to have a certain process that you have, we're moving into the needs analysis. And this is absolutely the most important part of this conversation. The needs analysis is what I call the heart of the matter. Now, here at Experior, we have some excellent tools to help with the needs analysis. I'm a big fan of the Green Sheet, which was actually developed by Dr. Mary and Eric Robinson. Okay, there is also the EFA, which is the Expert Financial Analysis. That also has all of the components to uncover the information that you need. Okay, but it's super, super important when you're going through the needs analysis that we're careful of how we ask these questions. We want to make sure that we're being curious and we're listening to them. What are they saying? What are they not saying? What are they implying? But more importantly, we want to make sure that we don't Mirandize them. And you're like, Mirandize? Leah, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the Miranda rights. So have any of you watched the cop show on the television? You know, they arrest the perp, they read him his Miranda rights, right? So if you're in a situation where you're getting your Miranda rights read to you, you're thinking this is not really going so well. All right? This is what I want you to imagine that you don't want to happen to your client. We don't want to go through this Green Sheet or the EFA in a manner that makes them feel like you have put them in the interrogation room, turn the thermostat up to 85 degrees, show them a bright white light into their eyes as you grill them through this form. This is not how you build trust. That is not how you build empathy. This is not how you get them to follow you down the path. So make sure that you're being gentle and conversational as you come through here. You can gather the information, but don't make them feel like they're being interrogated. At some point in this conversation, and this is going to be a stylistic thing, I need you to throw out this question. What do you need the money from this policy to pay for? Now, this is an all-purpose question. It works for every single situation. Whether you've got a client who has never had insurance before, you got a client that has insurance that feels like they need more, or that they've got some products and they feel like they want to swap out and replace. It doesn't matter. This question works all the time. And the reason why you want to ask this question and then settle back and listen to them and let them answer you, so asking an open-ended question, is because when people start talking, you're going to find out that they're coming to you with their need and their want all rolled up together like a big rubber band ball. Okay? And at this point in the conversation, we don't really know what their financial situation is. We don't know what their budget constraints are. And we don't know what the results of any type of medical underwriting or anything like that are going to be. So we got to start separating their need from their want from them. Okay, so this is what kind of, let's just say we've got an older client that's looking for a final expense. Oh, Miss Julie, tell me, what do you need the money from this policy to pay for? Oh, Leah, I really need to make sure that my grandbabies are going to be taken care of, and I gotta pay off all my bills, and I just want everybody to be okay. And oh, well, Miss Julie, didn't you tell me earlier that you don't have any life insurance at all? Yes, honey, I don't have any life insurance. Okay, so you don't have any life insurance at all. You told me you want a casket burial. So I absolutely hear you, and I'm so proud of you for thinking of your family and looking out for those things. But it sounds to me like we really need to make sure that the absolute minimum that we get that funeral taken care of. We need to make sure that you are being put away in a respectful manner. Okay, and then to address as many of those other things that you want as I possibly can. My responsibility to every single one of my clients is to make sure that when you leave the conversation with me, you leave in a better place than when you came to me. So I'm going to do the best that I can to make sure that your needs are covered, and then I'm going to get you as much of those other things that you want as I possibly can. So let's work through this and get it done. What do you think? That's how you start to separate the need from the want. Okay? Then we're going to go into the next step, nice and smooth, which is what I call the directed needs analysis. So we've gone through the green sheet. We know what keeps them up at night. We know whether they've got debts. We know whether they've got other insurance or not. All the things to get a full lay of the land of what's happening there. This is where we separate ourselves, and this is where we earn our keep. We are not order takers. We are problem solvers. So now your brain should be cranking, and you're starting to think about which solutions are matching up to which concerns. Okay, I want you to stay at broad strokes at this point. You're not going to promise them anything. Okay, we need to connect the responses in terms of what came out, what we discovered going through the green sheet, to some potential solutions. You should have some ideas in your head already, but don't paint yourself into a box. Keep it kind of wide. All right. Make sure that we're going to do that income discovery, which is part of the green sheet. And then after that, we need to get a budget number. Now I'm going to pause here for a second. There are very mixed schools of thought on getting budget. I've had arguments with people. Some people do not believe in getting a budget at all. I think that is absolutely absurd. You cannot spend other people's money for them. So just because you have a high net worth client or a higher income client, you can't assume that they're going to spend a certain amount of money on a transaction. Or if you have someone with a tighter income, you can assume that they're broke. People make room for the things that are important to them. And it's your job to make this important to them. So you have to make sure you get some type of a budget target. And after having this conversation with them and getting to know them, you will also get a feeling for how firm that number is. But if you don't get a target, you're literally taking spaghetti, throwing it on the refrigerator, and hoping that it's al dente. So make sure you get a budget number. All right? Now we've learned all this information. You want to say, you know what, Miss Julie, thank you so much for helping me understand everything that's going on with you. I appreciate your transparency. It makes my job so much easier. Now I'm really starting to think of putting some solutions together for you. I know for sure I'm going to be able to find something for you. But before I move to that, let me make sure we're on the same page. I heard you say, and then I'm going to go back and review what they said they absolutely needed, kind of separate from the things that they want. Make sure you get the need in there. And that you told me that was really important because, go back, revisit the urgency. What's that thing that's keeping them up at night? Why are they on the phone now? And then review what they said their budget target was. So I heard you say that you really needed this, and that this was really important because you didn't want whatever that thing that they don't want to manifest itself. And then when I start looking for you, you want me to stay really, really close to whatever that budget number is that they gave you. And then you're going to ask them, did I miss anything? And they're going to go, no, Leah, you got it. Or, yeah, you forgot this or that. So this is super, super important. I call this connecting the dots. You got to go back, make a little whip stitch, connect it, tie it together. Talk about the urgency a little bit. Poke the bear. What we've done here is built what I call the three-legged stool. So if you think about things, you got a chair with four legs. You can have one leg on the chair. It could be a little wobbly. You put a little matchbook underneath it. You can kind of get by. But if you've got a three-legged stool and one leg of that stool is faulty, sooner or later, you're going to end up sitting on the floor. Okay, every single sale is built on these three foundational legs: the need, the urgency, and the money. We have to have all these things firmly established before we make any proposals or solutions. Okay? Now, this three-legged stool concept and everything that I've talked about here, these are subjects for deep dives on each one of these individually. But for an overview today, this is sort of where we are. So this is a spot in the sales process where I'm going to stop right now, and we're going to go back one more time, okay? Back into our mind. So in the beginning, I was saying it's about your mindset. Where are you? Are you confident? Are you going to be empathetic? Okay. And now we've been connecting with our prospect's mind. One thing that I did not understand until I was in the industry for many years is that the type of insurance products that we offer in these financial services are different than, say, car insurance or homeowners insurance or even health insurance. You kind of have to have those things. The question is just like where you're going to get them and how much they're going to cost. The kind of things that we're looking at are entirely different. These decisions are based on emotion, and then they're justified with the facts. So if you're going to really be helpful to your people, you have got to connect with them. You got to find their heart. You got to figure out what the thing is that keeps them up at night. What's driving them? Okay? So in our case, the facts are the policy features. This is the face value. This is the premium. These are the benefits of it. Here's the illustration. Let me show you how this works. We're going to connect it to this index or whatever. Those are the facts, but those are not the things that compel people to purchase these products and keep these products. Our goal is to get a needs-based solution that is truly a wonderful fit. Okay? We need to get the policies in force, and we need them to stay in force. So sticky sales are based and grounded in emotion. If you fail to tap into the emotion of your person, then you're missing the boat. So that's a good place for me to stop for today. All right. Obviously, the next step in this process would be for you to schedule a follow-up call, go back, run illustrations, come back with a solution, and come back and propose. That's a little more on that last P on the presenting. I think this is a good place to stop. So I know we went over a lot of information really, really fast. I hope that it was helpful to you. One of the things that I love to do as a sales coach is to deep dive and go down into all of these areas and help people develop their role and credibility statements, understand that cadence, work their way through the green sheet, all of those things. That's what myself and your executive directors are here to do for you. So thank you so much for listening to me. You can scan my QR code here, go to my link tree, follow me on social media, and reach out if you need some help. Thank you so much.